When it comes to navigating life and career decision, traditional methods sometimes fall short. And I've worked with clients who are not only seeking just their next job, but they're really looking at this next opportunity as a career journey where they can finally find something or find something again that has purpose and meaning. So when we design your life, rather than just conducting a job search, we add creative, exploratory dimension to the work we do. So resumes and interviewing strategies, they're all part of the work that we do. But I was at a training recently and they described it this way. The resumes, the interviewing, all the LinkedIn, all the things you need to do for your job search, they're like the vegetables. We have to have them. They're not always great. You may not always want to have them, but they are necessary. And those things are necessary in your job search. But we can also have a little dessert. And I'm going to start talking to you a little bit about designing your life, which is really the dessert in this whole process. This allows us to explore multiple possibilities, to think creatively, and to try out different career paths to help us create a life that we truly desire. So the modern career landscape is less linear, right? You've seen those things where it's all around, there's directions everywhere, but it's much more dynamic than in the past. And so let's start by acknowledging that careers evolve and that individuals may need to pivot, adapt, reinvent themselves in a lot of different ways throughout their lifetime. This approach is valuable and it helps us and more of us to navigate an increasingly complex world of work, especially in this post-pandemic world where there are new careers, new jobs, we've got new technologies coming in, artificial intelligence, all kinds of different things going on. Every week for the rest of the year, I'm going to be sharing a new idea to help you control your future in a way that's creative, flexible, and deeply personal. Imagine approaching a life like a designer. So if we've got any engineers or any developmental designers, any creative types out there, experimenting, prototyping, and iterating are the processes that they do. And so you can craft a life using these same techniques, a life and a career that truly aligns with who you are and what you want. So whether you're at a crossroads or just looking to add more purpose to your current situation, I invite you to join me on this journey for exploring multiple pathways, reframing challenges and opportunities, and taking actionable steps toward your goals. So in this episode of Authentic Career and Life Design, we're going to dive into key mindsets of life design, how they can revolutionize the way that you approach career planning and personal growth. So what we're going to talk about is curiosity and reframing. Ooh, what's that? I'm curious. Radical collaboration, the power of prototyping, understanding what it means to have a bias towards action, and I'm going to share real life examples with you. So if you're curious to see how this approach can work for you, stick around and learn about the mindset changes that you need to unlock new possibilities as we design the life and career that you want. Welcome back to Authentic Career and Life Design, where we talk about all things career, including job search, resume writing, career transitions, academic pursuits, and now designing your life. So I'm your host, Laura, and I'm not your fly-by-night career coach. I've got 30 years of experience, my entire career, helping individuals like you navigate the complex world of career choices with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. Today we're going to be covering the topic of key mindsets that you need for designing your life and career. So, are you ready? Let's start designing your authentic career and life. First, I want to tell you about this new approach. So in 2021, I discovered the power of applying design thinking to help people plan their careers and their lives. And it all started with a book, a fascinating book called Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived and Joyful Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. And the excitement didn't stop there. In June of 2022, I was lucky enough to take part in a 5-day training called the Life Design Studio that was hosted by Stanford University's Life Design Lab. And it was an incredible experience that focused on spreading the word of transformative concepts of life design to colleges and universities worldwide. And I was part of that. If you don't know, my day job is working at a college career center. And so I was able to be a part of that training. And then for those years then since, I've been able to implement a lot of those things with my students and with my team, and we've trained a lot of people on campus. But in 2024, in June, just this June, I really jumped in to the deep end and became a Design Your Life certified coach, which allows me to bring this brilliant framework to the clients of authentic career and life design. So people are already making big changes through the activities and insights gained through life design. Now, you don't need to know everything about life design for this to work for you. Like I said, I've been doing this work for 30 years, and what this framework allows me to do is just understand and make things more relevant for clients. But when we think about the work that we're doing, it's still very much the same in terms of figuring out who you are, who you want to be, what you bring to the table, and how you can really articulate and communicate that to future employers, future organizations where you want to spend your time. It also, though, life design piece really helps you clarify what it is you want, right? I can get you a job. I remember once I was working with a student and he said, Laura, I just need a job, any job. And we really explored, is that true? Probably not. You're going to have some criteria, and we talk about that in previous episodes. But the life design framework really helps us dig deep into it. So basically what we do is we take the concept of process design and we bring it to life in career planning. So Bill Burnett and Dave Evans at Stanford University really developed this process and encourage individuals to approach their lives as designers. And as designers would approach a project with curiosity, creativity, and bias towards action. And the process involves exploring different possibilities, prototyping different career paths, and iterating, which means brainstorming, it's a fancy word, based on experiences and insights gained along the way. So instead of simply looking at like, what is the one job for me? Life design really embraces the idea that there are multiple possibilities, and we just need to kind of pick one that we're going to work on next. I always tell people all the time, you don't have to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You just need to figure out what we're going to do next. So to kick off this series that I'm doing, which is I think like a 14-week series, so every week if I can stay on top of it, we're going to be really talking about key mindsets. So key mindsets for using life design in this process. All right, so here we go. Perhaps you've been thinking about making a change for a long time. Maybe it's been years. Maybe it's just been since Tuesday when you had an incident that planted the seed that maybe there's something better for you out there. Regardless of how long it's been and how long you've been considering a change, really having a mindset is the best place to start. It'll start you on a path to new possibilities. You can get all the tools, all the advice, everything you need, but if you don't have the mindset, think of it like the soil for planting your seed. If it's not right, then no matter what you do, your seed may not grow. Think of that. Mindsets, seeds. All right. So the first mindset we're going to start is be curious. Be curious. There's a lot of different ways, and this is a kind of a statement that is being used a lot. Brene Brown is one of my heroes, and she talks about curiosity a lot, and I think it's really helpful, especially when you're in a place of discomfort or a place of defensiveness. curiosity is a good place. But I want you to think of it as a mindset to be using right now as we think about what's next for you in your life, in your career. So think about this, all right? Think about a time when you were in a place where there was a lot of activity, but you didn't have a specific role. For example, this morning, which is why my hair looks crazy, this morning I went to the farmer's market with my mother. And I mean, I'm telling you what, the farmer's market is awesome, but it's also a great place to look and watch and just people watch. If you're like me, I love to people watch. So again, at the farmer's market, I wasn't in charge. I had no role. No one knew I was coming. No one even knew who I was. I was just there with my mom, having a great, great day on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. So imagine you're in a space, maybe it's a farmer's market, maybe it's a coffee shop, but someplace where you're not in charge. You're just there. Maybe you're waiting for someone or you're waiting for something to happen, and you're there. But you don't pull out your phone for a distraction. You're there, you're looking, you're observing. So instead, you're just sitting, standing, watching. You're observing, right? So as you look around, kind of what thoughts are coming to your mind? Chances are you're curious, naturally. You're wondering. Your mind is trying to make sense of some things that are going on around you. At our farmer's market, maybe at yours, there's lots of dogs there, and there's lots of people there, and children and noises. So sometimes when you see and think, oh, I wonder what that person's story is. Or, oh, that's interesting that they can bring their dog to a farmer's market without it jumping on everyone. I wonder what that's like, right? Curiosity, okay? Curiosity is basically the desire to learn, explore, and understand more about a particular thing. So it's a natural inclination to seek out new information and experiences and perspectives. So being curious can serve us in many situations outside of just sitting and waiting, like it can drive us to ask questions, investigate the unknown, and really engage in the world around us in a much deeper way. So in the context of personal and professional growth, curiosity really encourages us to be open to new possibilities and the willingness to embrace uncertainty and change. So if something pops in and you think, oh, I wonder what it would be like to take my harvest from my garden and sell it at the farmer's market. What might that be like? I probably wouldn't make any money, or I don't know, I don't have the time for that, I don't have the obligation, but it's a good question to ask. So just like that, if there's a career or a field you're interested in, or maybe you're thinking, what would it be like if I went to part-time? What might my life be like? So curiosity, asking questions of yourself and maybe others, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But curiosity is the fuel that propels discovery, creativity, and innovation. The next one is reframing the situation. And we often get trapped in one way of thinking because it's the first story we tell ourselves. So taking the time to consider different perspectives is always valuable, right? So we've heard that every story has at least two sides. So there's two sides to every story. And sometimes there are 3, 4, 5, 6. You think about someone who was at the same experience, yet their story and narrative is 5 different ways, right? From the different people in the room. So we also seem to forget that universal truth, right? There's more than one side to the story. So imagine now you're up for promotion at work and you've been eyeing this promotion for months. You've worked really hard. You've met all your targets. You feel really confident that you're a great fit. But when the promotion is announced, it goes to someone else. Naturally, you might feel disappointed and frustrated, even hurt. I know when this has happened to me in the past, it was just like, it was like an arrow to my heart. And then you start questioning your abilities, like, oh, what did I do wrong? Where would I miss? So it's really easy to get stuck in the like, oh, I did something wrong. I wasn't good enough. I failed, right? So we can get stuck in that. Another place to go is they made a mistake, they have no idea what they're doing, right? So putting sort of the blame. But again, whatever story it is, sometimes we get stuck on that, right? Keep ruminating. So instead of seeing the missed promotion as a failure or a reflection of your worth, consider reframing it, right? So ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or what opportunities might this open up for me? So I didn't get it. Not why, how did that person, but instead, okay, I didn't get it. So what does that mean for me? What information does that give me? All right. So maybe it's a chance to identify areas where you can grow, build new skills. Maybe you find out that the person they did hire has this special set of skills that you didn't have. So if that interests you, maybe you want to pursue that. Or maybe you found out that, for whatever reason, this position, they really need someone who's going to be traveling more. And you're like, shoo, I'm glad I didn't get that because that's not what I want. So you can really seek feedback that can help you in the future. Maybe the promotion would have led you down a path that doesn't align with your true interests. Maybe it would have looked differently, whether knowingly or unbeknownst to you or even the people making the decision. Okay, looking back, you can think, whew, I remember when I didn't get a position, I changed my password to be dodged a bullet because that's how I felt like, whew, thank God I didn't get that, right? So it could also then be a nudge for you to explore a different role or a project that is a better fit. So I didn't get this. Might there be something better out there? Reframing might also lead you to recognize that timing wasn't right. All right, that another more suitable opportunity could be on the horizon. Has that ever happened where you missed something and then along came something better? Yeah, breakups, bad relationships. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like, shoo, thank God I didn't really marry that person. And then I married the person that I did. So by reframing the situation, you shift from a mindset of loss to one of growth and possibility. And this really opens up new avenues for action and keeps you from getting stuck in a single limiting interpretation of events. All right, the third mindset, are you ready? It's called radical collaboration. And when I talk about radical collaboration, I know people are like, okay, Laura, what are you talking about? It can feel intimidating to use the word radical, but don't worry, I'm not talking about supporting extreme views. Instead, I'm talking about radical in the sense of making a significant shift in how you engage with people and ideas around you, right? So radical is a radical change. It's a huge change, right? A radical mindset we might talk about. So in terms of radical collaboration, what we mean is fully embracing the power and knowledge that comes from working with others. Working with others. We may think we know it. We may think that we read it on the internet. We may think that we took that one class that was offered online. But by actively seeking out and collaborating with diverse people, ideas, and networks allows you to expand your own resources and perspectives and opportunities in ways that you can't alone, right? So you can't just sit in a box and learn something. Go into a classroom. You can do something online, but there's probably an online discussion board for you to engage in and interact with other people who can challenge your ideas, and you can hear them and their ideas and think, oh, that's interesting. I've never thought about that way, right? So think of a time now when you were working on a project and you hit a roadblock. Can you think of it? So maybe you've tried everything you can think of, but nothing seems to work. Like you just can't think of like, this is not working. I don't know why. And instead of continuing to struggle, like many of us do, right? We know these people in our life. This is the way I'm doing it. I know it doesn't work for me, but this is the way I know and it's familiar and I'm just going to keep on doing it, right? Do those people change? Do they solve the problem? If they do, it might be by luck, right? So instead of continuing to struggle on your own, you decide to bring in colleagues from maybe different departments, each with their own expertise, okay? And so by sharing ideas, brainstorming together, you not only find a solution to the problem, but you also discover new approaches and strategies that you wouldn't have thought of by yourself. So again, can you think of a time when you had a project and you were stuck? And was there ever an opportunity, or maybe you did this? Did you say, hey, listen, I want to bring this in? When we work, again, I work on a college campus. So if we're trying to solve a problem that serves students, and the only solutions we look at come from other people that look and sound like me, then I'm going to be missing the boat. The first thing to do is go to the students. This is a problem we're trying to solve. What are your thoughts, right? And you can get some great ideas, things that you never would have thought of. It's a really great thing to do and a brave thing to do. It opens you up also to then having to look at different sides. So you do have to be brave if you're going to embrace radical collaboration. So in terms of how you might design the life that you want, incorporating radical collaboration will help you fully leverage the strengths and insights of others. For example, you might then do informational interviews. You might join an online group or a LinkedIn group or some sort of discussion with people who are in a career or industry that you're interested in, and just sit back and listen. You don't have to do anything, right? Just listen, open up your ears, listen. And then if something happens that allows you to have a conversation with someone and be curious, that's radical collaboration. It can be a total game changer as you innovate and grow. Okay, so the next one is try it out. All right, try it out. So I have worked with so many clients over the years who have graduated with a major or started a job only to find out that it wasn't at all what they expected. And some of them stuck with it for far too long, only to be miserable and burnt out months or even years later. This situation can usually be avoided by putting in a little bit of extra work through testing, or as designers like to call it, prototyping. So prototyping is when we test a concept or a process. That's basically all it is. We try it out, we test it. Does this work? Maybe we build a small scale piece of it before we actually then mass produces or try it out. As you do the work toward more intentional living, don't dismiss the opportunities to try things out. Try out a different life or career options through small experience. So this might look like volunteering, job shadowing, conducting informational interviews, maybe doing an internship if you can do that. A lot of programs have them built in, internships, clinical experiences, to give you a chance to prototype before making immediate large-scale changes you may regret. I always love this example that I heard, which is, a lot of us did different things during COVID in our time, especially the early times, and people started baking and making cupcakes and bread or doing crafts. I actually put in a flagstone patio around our fire pit, and I loved doing it. It was really great. But I tell you what, it took me 4 weeks to do it and get it right. And by the end, I never want to look at a flagstone again. I guess a flagstone is what it is. A flagstone rock, path, brick, I don't know. I don't want to do it again. Never. And when people see it, they say, oh, it's so beautiful. Maybe we could have you come and help it. No, thank you. I do not want to do that. So prototyping maybe tells us, do I want to do this every day, all day? No. Do I want to do it once so I can enjoy it? Yes. All right. So I am not going to become a patio flagstone layer. Maybe that's it. So the point is this: It gives us an opportunity to try it out. And so let's say you loved baking cupcakes during COVID and that was super fun. But if you're going to bake cupcakes for a living, then you probably need to do it 10 days in a row every day and see how you like it then, right? And if you still love it, awesome, great information for you. So, again, prototyping before making large scale changes that you might regret. So I remember a client who was really passionate about helping people, and she really believed that becoming a speech language pathologist was the perfect way for her to make a difference. She had a little experience with it in her personal life. She invested years into her education. She earned both a bachelor's and a master's degree in communication science disorders and then speech language pathology. However, after starting her first job, she quickly realized that the daily tasks, the paperwork, and specific challenges of the role were not really what she had envisioned. And she found herself feeling unfulfilled and questioning her career choice. Though our work together was all about her next steps and her job search and then how she might make a change, and she kind of knew what she wanted at that point, I want to take a look at this from the viewpoint of prototyping. So let's rewind and imagine if that same client had taken the time to prototype this career before committing fully. So during her sophomore year, she could have volunteered at a local clinic, shadowing a speech pathologist for a few weeks. Maybe she could have talked to someone who had been a speech pathologist for 5-10 years. Those people, the honeymoon's over. They can really talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And a lot of programs like this do build in and bake in some sort of clinical experience, and which is really great. Thankfully, they do that. But not every program does that, right? So some of these health sciences ones do, but not every program does. So this kind of experience, talking to someone in the field, experienced in the field, really getting a clear day-to-day realities of the jobs, not just the highlights, right? Not just the wins, but also what are the lows. So conducting informational interviews would also have revealed aspects of the job that she maybe hadn't considered, such as really the emotional toll or the administrative work involved. So through these small experiments, she might have discovered early on that while she loved helping people, the specific tasks in this field of speech language pathology weren't a good fit for her skills and interests. Other people, great fit. Not a good fit for her. Remember that, right? Especially when someone says, oh, my uncle does that and he hates it. Okay, you don't know the uncle. Don't listen to that. You need to get your information first and foremost from people who are doing it, and where you can say, am I similar? Would I like that? Would that be the same for me? Okay. She could have then explored related fields like occupational therapy or counseling or something that's also helping, but maybe a little bit different bent on how she would be helping people. So where her passion for helping others would align better with her strengths and her preferences. So by prototyping her career choice, the client could have saved herself some years of frustration and found a path that truly resonated with her from the start. The good news, if that's you, is you can start over anytime, right? So it doesn't mean that that's lost time. It could have been different. And if you're at a place to check that now, do it. But if you have made a decision and you didn't do this and now you're thinking, we don't need to spend time. We don't need to ruminate on what a bad decision it was or wasted money or anything like that, right? We just need to start with where we are. And that's what we did. So I was able to help the client define her interests, her skills, her values, and move on to a great career helping people in another profession. So the point is this: trying on careers or prototyping might save a little time and frustration if you're in that space. And the last one that I want to talk about for your mindset is a bias toward action. So there are countless reasons why people are slow to make change, even a positive change, um, that will bring them closer to living out their dreams. And rather than focusing on all those reasons in this post, there's so many, and I know some, I'm not an expert in many, right? But I want to introduce the mindset of having a bias toward action. So for many of us, it's easy to get stuck in our heads when we're trying to make big decisions, like making a career change. Maybe you know those people who it's so hard for them to decide what to wear in the morning, what to eat for dinner. All of those choices are hard. Or, making like, oh, okay, should I move to Florida or stay in New Jersey? Right? So, whatever that is, you may at some point in your life find yourself over analyzing things to the point where you just felt paralyzed. So, you didn't make any decision. Can you think of a time when that was it? Oh, I still haven't done that. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, you're just avoiding it. And does it seem like you spend time worrying about making the wrong decision than actually doing something about it? Right? So your time and energy is ruminating over whether or not it's the right decision instead of just making it and going forward. Okay. So this is where we use the concept called a bias toward action. So a bias toward action is basically the idea that instead of getting trapped in indecision or spending too much time researching, that's kind of what I do. My default is research. You just start taking small steps, right? So you're like, okay, before I make this huge decision, I'm going to do this. Right? It's kind of like experimenting. You learn by doing. So even if you're not 100% sure of the outcome, you try it anyway. Okay? It's like when you're unsure about a career path. So instead of waiting until you have all the answers, you might try out the internship or volunteering or even have a few conversations with people in the field that I keep talking about. So bias towards action. You get an idea. I think I'm interested in this. I think I'm interested in graphic design. So I'm going to look at this program, or I'm going to talk to someone who does that, or I'm going to look into local programs for me, or I'm going to look at research what kind of skills that I need. Okay. So it's about getting out of your comfort zone sometimes and trying new things, even if it's just to see if you like it. Or if you don't like it. It's about moving forward and learning through experiences rather than just thinking and planning, right? So we can read about it, we can gather all the data, but we need that experiential data as well. So having this mindset can really help us feel less stuck. You might actually get more clarity by just jumping in and testing things out instead of waiting for the perfect moment. So taking action not only gives you real feedback, but it also builds confidence because you're actively doing something to figure it out. You're not sitting in indecision, right? Which feels super weak and super flip-floppy sometimes for some people. Plus, you often end up discovering opportunities or paths that you might not have even considered. So it's like that movie or the concept of the yes day, right? The yes day when you're going to say yes to everything that's put before you for one day. Even things that you would never do, you're just going to say yes. Bias towards action. So those are my 5 key mindsets for designing your career and life. And I want you to think about how you might incorporate one of them, 2 of them, as you move forward in your life and career journey. Remember that it's not about finding the one perfect path that's right from the start. There are multiple paths that could work for you. It's about creating the path through intentional action, right? So if you're waiting for the perfect thing, but you're never going on a path, then what's the point of that? You want to be curious and you want to explore. So by embracing a bias towards action, you give yourself permission to experiment, to learn and adapt as you go. Prototyping your ideas, trying them on, testing them out, reframing your challenges. That didn't work. Oh, that was a waste of time. No, that didn't work. Great. I know that doesn't work. So now I'm going to try this next thing, right? And collaborating with others. How did you do that? Tell me how you do that. I'm so curious. I'd love to learn more. Also, powerful tools that help you design a life and career that truly resonates with who you are. So instead of waiting for the stars to align or the perfect opportunity to present itself, start taking small steps today. Test out your ideas, gather insights, adjust your course as needed. The journey might be filled with twists, turns, and disappointments, but with each step, you'll gain more clarity, confidence in the direction you're headed. So remember, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to change your mind sooner than later. If it's not serving you, change your mind. Life is not linear. It's a dynamic, evolving journey, and by approaching it with creativity, flexibility, and a bias towards action, you'll not only make more informed decisions, but also build a life and career that feels authentic and fulfilling. Thanks for tuning in to Authentic Career and Life Design. I don't want you to miss up on any upcoming episodes. And from now until the end of the year 2024, it's September, so 4 months, I invite you to join me each week as we continue to explore new ideas, strategies, and mindsets that will empower you to take control of your future and design the life you truly desire. So let's embark on this journey together, one step at a time. And remember, your career journey is uniquely yours. Embrace it with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. What I'd love for you to do is subscribe to my blog at authentic-careers.com or contact me at laura@authentic-careers.com. If you found this episode helpful, leave me a review, share it with someone. And if you want to work with me, just call me. We can do a 15-minute call to see like what's going on, how can I help you, if you're a good fit. In the show notes, I've got links. You can listen to this on a podcast, your favorite podcast player. You can read the blog post, check out the book, Designing Your Life, How to Live a Well-Lived and Joyful Life. I got another one right here, which is Designing Your Work Life, also by Bill and Dave, my new heroes. And again, subscribe and connect on YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, and check me out on my blog. So I hope you have a great day. And don't forget, be authentic, be curious, bias towards action.